Hello YouTube, welcome to the Pete McHugh Show and welcome to another edition in the series or installment in the series Shedding the Light on Life with Cerebral Palsy. I'm your host Pete McHugh and I'm glad you could be here today. Now today, some of the things that we're going to talk about are going to intertwine with the last video we talked about when I talked about how the brain and the body interact with each other when you have CP. Okay? It's going to connect with our last video in some ways. Now, a lot of people are unaware of the fact that in some cases, cerebral palsy can affect a person's vision. Now, like anything else, the eyes have muscles. There are muscles in the human eye, just as there are in any other part or most part of the human body. And in a lot of cases, and for various reasons, there are times that those muscles have to be developed. One of the things that I have trouble with when it comes to depth perception and visual spatial relationships or connections is visual tracking. Now, I'm a very auditory person. Now think of the human brain as a CPU or a computer unit. The human brain is one of the most complex CPUs known to man. And the brain can process information at an astonishing rate. Very, very quickly. You can learn and process very, very smoothly. And because certain muscles in my eyes are weak and underdeveloped and are not as fluid, shall we say, as like my audio awareness or auditory awareness, I can't process visual information as quickly as I can if I were to hear it. Because certain muscles in my body, or in my eyes in this case, are weaker, what happens is this. Now, see, we're dealing with muscle compensation, because here's what occurs. Because my muscles in the eyes are underdeveloped, weaker, and not as strong as my auditory processing, my ears and my auditory awareness processes much faster because my auditory awareness compensates for weaknesses in my vision. So my ears compensate for my eyes, and I can process at a much faster rate if I hear something than if I see it. Now, I'm not saying I'm blind. I'm just saying I process faster in the ears than I do the eyes. Okay? Alright, now, here's what can happen sometimes. I don't know if this is true for anyone else in this specific way. I've talked to various friends, and I've had a lady who's a very dear friend talk about very similar type things, and I think she knows what I'm talking about somewhat, but that's the closest I've ever come to finding someone who deals with a very similar situation. Okay. If we think of the brain as a computer, here's what can sometimes happen. If I am in a room and I'm trying to process how to physically function, how to move my body, I'm also trying to process what's happening visually as it's all going on, and I'm trying to process and connect with all the various stimuli in the room. In some cases, if there are too many things going on in a room, I can become what I call visually spatially overwhelmed. And my brain, or my central core processing unit, can sometimes try to overcompensate, and I can get what I would consider or describe as informational overload. Okay? And what happens when I become visually spatially overloaded is I have to stop, retrace my steps, retract myself, and get back in focus, and then I can move on. Then my computer can reboot, and then I can go on about life as normally as anyone would expect, or as normally as I possibly can. That's the best way for me to describe visual spatial processing. And I hope you've enjoyed this video. Have a great day, great evening, great morning, great afternoon. Whenever you are watching this video, whether it be daytime, nighttime, afternoon time, just make sure whatever you're doing it well. You're being adventurous and having a great time. God bless, and I'll see you soon for another video. Peace, everybody. Bye-bye.